this show whenever we're ready to go, David. We're good. We're live, Dave. Anything?
This is 2OF Entertainment.
Welcome to the Lost Dollar Business Club, where we talk about business, and not just business. We talk about what makes businesses go up and what makes businesses go down. If you're interested in businesses, this is where it is. We talk about the global economy. We talk about global politics. We talk about everything and anything business related that affects your life on a global scale as well as a local scale. And don't miss after the show, Lost and Found. Plus, I love this. We're various members and guests. Like, oh, is this a private club? So, hey, are you going to play the horsey ad? Is it a private club? Are you going to play the horsey ad? Can you play the horsey ad, or you can't play the horsey ad?
I may be able to do it.
All right, if you can, it's okay, because I know when you have to do something different, the whole system dies. So we won't do that. So Michael, John, everyone's here today. So guys, Michael, what are we gonna talk about today?
Well,
we were talking before the show.
We've had some good guests over the past few weeks. So that's been we've had a good run. But today it's going to be just us talking about. It's just us, just us. We're talking about the ethics of a lot of different things. So today will be the ethics episode, which of course
we have none.
So. We of which we have one.
Very short show this week.
Thanks for tuning in.
Because think of the big business. We've talked about this before, but the first topic we'll talk about is the big business of green energy, particularly lithium-ion batteries, which power the green economy and which apparently, according to a new study, new research paper, are really, really bad for the environment in terms of not just manufacture and use, but also the disposal of these, which release all these toxic chemicals. So let's talk about the ethics of green. Then we'll talk about the ethics of software, something that everyone who uses a computer should know about. It's this concept called dark patterns, which are ways that programmers program the software for subscriptions and websites so that they make it difficult for you to leave the subscription or make very easy or almost too convincing for you to buy their product. And then we'll end on the something happening in the U.S. Congress. Finally, something somewhat ethical is that they're discussing the banning of members of Congress from trading stocks, which is a topic that
but not their family. So thank God for that. Anyway.
No. Yeah, the family, yes.
They're including their family, their spouses, and their dependent children.
Yeah.
Oh, so you can just tell your best friend, and then he can trade on insider information.
Right.
I like it. All right. 1932 all over again.
Yeah, there's like golf club memberships will be doubling now. I can see that happening.
That's right.
Yes, I see that as well.
Sure.
Okay, guys. So we'll let's pay some bills.
Let's pay some bills.
Okay, so here.
Get the freedom and the flexibility of remote work in the lucrative tech industry. Bend your life around the world. Bandicoot is the premier course and community for thriving in a remote tech career. Join the revolution today. Bandicoot.com, official partner of the Lost Dollar Business Club.
All right.
That's nice. Now, before we run the next commercial, these guys, the Soundperts, this is their headset called the Space. And once again, I was going to wear it on the show today because my family keeps playing musical headsets with me. I did get to listen to music last night with it, and I was like, it really is phenomenal. And I even took a phone call on it, and it is noise canceling, which is good when the family's around. But it's a great headset. I think it's better than Beats and Bose. They're a sponsor, I think, for another week. And so we just want to say their link will be below. They're wonderful. I would in a minute. And I asked them yes to everybody's thing. We talked about this last week. If they'd send all our host headsets, and they said no. That's on Sarah. And if you want to send your cards and letter to Sarah to complain, I'll put her email address in.
We're thoroughly upset. We're thoroughly upset, but we have a product.
But we're not that upset that we're not going to run their promo.
That's right.
There you go. Got it. Soundpeach Space. Hybrid active noise cancellation headphones. Wireless Bluetooth. 123 hours of playtime. high-res audio, the best headphones out there. There you go. Welcome to the Lost Dollar Business Club. Business, business, business. This is a show to discuss why businesses fail and why businesses succeed. If you're in business, this is a show you don't want to miss. I love it. That's great. That's on our Instagram feed and on YouTube, apparently.
That's it. Yeah. Well, this is we got it. You know, David, I applaud you for the absolute creativity and mild insanity of the videos you create.
I got it all from you, Michael.
All right. Well, speaking of mild insanity, green energy. All right, lithium-ion batteries. No, seriously. I mean, this. We talked about the ethics of being able to create an entire industry out of green energy without thinking about disposing of the things that are coming out of it, disposing of the solar panels, disposing of the wind farms, disposal of the lithium-ion batteries that are being used to store all this energy. And now there's a report that came out that points the finger at lithium-ion batteries, which are everywhere, as releasing something called PFAS. So I mean, just for the sake of some PFAS. But it's a type of PFAS, and I think a lot of people have heard of these PFAS substances, which are awful. Yeah. And so they're being released.
Thank you, Michael. That solved the big question mark in Europe is what's happening with Joe Biden. He's obviously been driven around in an electric limo. It's affected his brain.
Now you know why.
And why? There you go.
Revealed it on this show, guys. Thought I'd keep that one back, but
on this show. Well, yeah. I mean, so the thing is, you look at all these. You look at everybody champion. A lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people championing the green energy movement. But are people really thinking about, and are we as a society really thinking about the problems that are associated with it? And this report points to it, is that, look, are we sacrificing, are we saying we're reducing CO2, but we're actually increasing all these other pollutants?
Well, PFAS is a big issue. It's a big issue in Holland, around industry, around chemical industry plants. They're telling you, if you keep chickens, free-range chickens, don't eat the eggs, because the PFAS is found in that. I'm very close to somebody who tests regularly for PFAS as part of their job. It's everywhere, and it's one of those sort of asbestos stories, but nobody wants to talk about this one because it's all tied up with the Green Revolution and et cetera, et cetera.
Wait a second. Let me, if I may. First of all, electric cars give more pollution than the CO2 cars. So let's just get off this BS that electric cars are saving the world. They emit radiation when you drive it. They're going to kill you anyway. So let's enough of this crap.
Well, number two. So does your mobile phone. There you go.
I think, yeah, but it is what it is. Back in the day, Ralph Nader, a U.S. person, said there's a big problem with all of this, whether it was air pollution, nuclear waste, lithium. So Ralph Nader, for you that don't know them because you're too young, look them up on the internet. Ralph Nader was a champion of this stuff in the 70s and 80s, and everybody pushed him aside.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, we have an issue with the green. There have been issues that nobody wants to talk about with the green movement since the late 60s. When they say, "Oh, nuclear is that," no, there's a problem because where are you going to store it? Oh, there's lithium. Where are you going? So Ralph Nader and his group brought this up in the late 60s and in the 70s, and even ran for president, I think, in the 80s. It's kind of a joke, not to him, but to everyone else, bringing this up. So it's been there. It's just, we go back to it. Greed is good. People don't care, and they want their life easy. And the other thing is, we spoke about this on Vaguely True, is that people are ostriches, right? They stick their head in their sand, and all they care about is what's going to make their life easier. This electric car, dumbest thing in the world. Why? Because I'm going to charge my car. It's going to cost me $200 to get a full battery charge to go 200 miles. It takes 12 hours to charge. I can go to the petrol station, and in 30 seconds, I can go 500 miles. So, and then the mining and all the other crap that you need to do. It's ridiculous. So my biggest thing is there's no ethics here. It's all about money. So let's just call it out. The green movement has no ethics. They're whores like everybody else, except they hide behind, I'm saving the planet. No, you're not saving jack. You're just putting more money in your pocket and making your shareholders and stakeholders happy. I'm good with that, but let's be honest about it. All right, let's not say you're not saving crap. It's all BS. And until a planet gets together and decides we really need to do something with some sort of free energy, whether it's solar, wind, Tesla's idea.
It's not free, Stephen. That's the thing, because we had some panels put up, and it saved us. We're now actually, I think they'll end up paying us money at the end of this year. Okay, so it's a 5-year investment by the time you put everything on the roof. But what's happened in the meantime is the electricity companies are now saying, "Oh, well, I'm sorry, we forgot to tell you that really our cables only go from right to left, and now you're pumping back electricity from left to right. I'm sorry, you're giving us too much electricity, so therefore you have to pay us.
That's right.
Put it back into the grid." So. We all, there was this huge crusade here. I mean, virtually everywhere, some panels everywhere in Holland. We're all part of the crusade. We said, yeah, that's great. Let's do it. Let's save the planet. Let's put up all these solar panels. Let's get all this free electricity. And now we're being punished for it. They're turning everything back. Oh.
Well, the problem is the people who've been pushing it, David, I think at least in the United States, a lot of the people pushing the green energy movement are people who are directly benefiting from the green energy movement. These are the solar panel companies, and which, by the way, 70% of them come from China anyway. These are the people who, these are the people who are not thinking about the actual cause of what we're doing, the actual consequence of what we're doing.
I don't know if they're not thinking or they don't care.
Maybe they don't care.
There's a very big difference between, like, I think about things I do. The question then is, after I thought about it, do I care?
Do I care?
The Chinese businesses and the Chinese government, they think about everything because they play a long game, right? They're playing 100-year or 1,000-year game. If you read their book 2050, they're playing a long game. However, they may think about it, but they don't really care because their goal is to be the China of old, which is global domination. So all they want to do is flood the market, get everybody to be dependent. And I'm not saying that's what they're doing. Or they're thinking that, but so they think through it, but do you care? It's the same thing when you're a kid. You're just like, I know this is wrong, but you do it. So it's the same thing. So I think they know it's wrong, but once again, it goes back to greed is good.
But there's a big disconnect. That's the problem, because all the government. I'll just finish, John, and I'll come to you for me. There's a big disconnect because all the governments were saying, "Yeah, we'll go green. Yeah, we'll have all these solar panels." But did anybody who was making that law go to the electricity company and say, "Guys, can you just remind us how you make money?" "Oh yeah, you generate it and you sell it to the consumer, and now the consumer's generating more electricity than you are, and are putting it back into it." So nobody seems to have discussed that with anybody, because the electricity companies don't want green energy. That's the last thing they want, because they're not built. As I say, the electricity goes from them to us via the plug, not from the plug to the electricity company.
They'll just keep increasing the delivery charges.
Yeah,
that's all.
The cost of delivery.
John.
So
because they have to keep the cables and everything together. Sorry, John. You made a point.
No, I was going to say, it begs the question. Were they really thinking, or are they just naive, stupid, or what? Because at the end of the day, all of the renewable stuff that generates a lot of electricity needs to go over transmission lines, and the transmission lines are not designed for the intermittent the inconsistency of the supply of electricity over the lines, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta change the cables. It's not, you don't have to put new towers on it. You just have to put a new cable, right? But it seems either the consultants that come up with all this stuff that feed it to the politicians either didn't think about it, or that, or I don't know, that, I just don't understand why we're in this position. In the UK has the highest electricity rates, I think, in Europe, at least. I don't know about the world, and they've invested, I don't know, a hell of a lot of money, billions. I don't know if it doesn't get to the trillion, but let's just call it, a couple hundred billion. And they they have the highest. So this is supposed to bring down electricity rates, right?
Yeah,
Yet
but
in the UK they have the highest
they
electricity
sell
rate.
it. They sell electricity onto the
So
European
at some
market.
point, you're wondering, either the people that propose all these things are naive, or why are they proposing something that if it's implemented at scale is going to cause a lot more problems.
Here's
And
John. If you remember, we had the guy who had this new wind technology a couple
Yeah.
months ago. Remember that? John
Yes.
has Alzheimer's. He may not remember, but if you remember what he said, to get something done takes. We were joking about it, right? You needed Asian hookers and parties and blackmail videos, but really, it took 5 to 10 years
yes,
to get it done. So the point is that the politicians, we talked about this on Vaguely True, which airs tomorrow, by the way, at 7:00 Eastern time. But on Vaguely True, we said politicians should be given a test to see like how smart you are, and also a psychological test to see how, if you're going to go postal. But the politicians don't care. Remember, if we like somebody and we're writing you a check and we're big oil,
There
you're
you
going to
go.
vote everything big oil, right? This goes back to nobody cares. It's all BS. It's just a game. And so as soon as you learn it's a game, nothing's going to change. And we talked about this before. I have a friend who has a vineyard in Napa, and a half an acre of his vineyard is covered with solar panels. And because to what David was saying about the company, and you can't think, so they put an ice box. And an ice box is actually what stores your extra power. So when they have a cloudy day or a rainy day, their ice box is full of extra power, and it puts it back to the house. So his electric bill was like $2,000 or $3,000 a month. His electric bill now is like $4 because he is self-sufficient with his stuff. So I'm shocked that
we would love to
why
be
can't you have an ice box it puts it back into your house and holds it?
I'll tell you why. Because we are not really big consumers, because it's mostly me here at home all day. So it's about 7.5 kilowatts, something like that, 7.5, 8, I think.
Okay.
But in order to store it, I would need 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 1 kilowatt batteries, which cost round about €1,000 each. Okay, and they all come from China anyway. So that's $10,000. That's $10,000. Or €10,000 we'd have to invest just to pay for our daily use.
Right.
And the thing about it is the batteries only store for a day. So whoever wins this battery storage war is going to be, billionaires, trillionaires.
Well, there's ones that store longer. I mean, there's ones that store power.
They are, but then you can put a couple of zeros on the end of that.
And then you
have to have a special unit in the house to protect it, because these things get really hot. So we have friends in Belgium who did it. I mean, they have 100% electric because they don't have any gas. And in Belgium, they were getting virtually free electricity from the nuclear power station, but that closed down. So therefore, they had to, readjust everything. They put panels everywhere, and they spent 10,000, 12,000 euros on these batteries, which they have in an area in their garage. But when it's gone, it's gone.
Well,
but I couldn't run my car on it. Well, I live in a cottage anyway, sort of a cottage, so we don't have space. So I don't have separate. I have public parking where I park, so I couldn't do it anyway. So I don't have enough. I wouldn't have enough capacity to run a car, and I'd have to have an enormous. I mean, how long would it take to get 10, 12, 13,000 euros worth of return just out of buying the batteries, on top of the 6,500 that we spent on the panels to put on the roof?
This is just showing the misguided nature of a lot of this blind push
Yeah.
for
And they want us to have these special pumps. But in order to do that, you have to totally isolate your house. You have to have grade 3 windows put in. Really, you're talking about easily 20,000 euros just to be slightly self-sufficient.
So
So
basically,
that's
the
what.
green movement's a scam. Let's just call for what it is. It's a scam.
Well, look at the
Good.
U.S. passed the what was it, I forget the energy bill that they passed, where they put, I think, $8 billion to install charging stations for cars, right? So I don't know, a month ago they interviewed Buttigieg and they asked him, how many have we installed so far?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I'll tell you what, the number is like 7. And he's like, yeah, well, it takes
$1 billion each.
If you read
people.
the report,
Yeah.
they were projecting in this allocation of the fund of this much bigger law, that was going to cost about $15,000 a piece. Well, the reality is, it costs $100,000 to put a charging station, and it takes months to. Why? Because that's what it costs.
That's what it costs.
No,
Then you have
that's because government gets involved. It's like Bill Maher did a story.
Who puts it in?
Bill Maher did a story in San Francisco. They were going to build a public loo, and it came out to be $3 million. And everybody was like, $3 million for a public loo. And they finally got like a guy that didn't go through the city to build it. I think it cost $50,000. And it's the same $3 million one, except they didn't put pad it with this and pad it with that. So no, I'm assuming the equipment, because you see these ads, why don't you buy a charging station? Because it's a scam. Because you still have to get electric. I understand you have to run cables, but really,
absolutely,
$50,000 to run a cable? Come on, that's ridiculous. You use one of the directional drilling machines, 2 minutes. The problem is everybody can't afford to live in today's society, so they're like, we got to just up the prices. We can't afford to pay for people.
So what happens to all those people who live in a block of flats? Because there are a lot of blocks of flats here where it's illegal to park your EV in the parking space under the block of flats, because it's considered to be a fire hazard.
Yeah,
petro, baby. You use petro and you kill the humans and you let the animals take over.
There was a guy, a Dutch guy actually, and I don't know if he's still trying to succeed, but he had this wonderful plan of using lamp posts, putting charging stations straight into that. So you could, because every street's got a lamp post.
I mean, those are
that's not happening. Yeah,
that's not happening.
I think Shell bought the company or had it all tied up.
Oh boy,
but that's not happening.
Anyway,
but that's
why?
That's my point. Because you can't do that. This is the problem. It's a scam.
You know what the issue
Let's
is?
just call it for what it is.
Do you know what the issue is? That the local authorities were concerned about all the cables that people might fall over on the pavement, and then there'd be litigation about it being dangerous to walk on the street.
Then those people you should take out back like a horse and shoot them. So this is the problem. We have become such a litigious globe. Not everybody's worried about, we're going to get, you know what? If we all would work together and listen, greed is good. I'll be the first one to say that. I'm okay with that. Yeah. But every now and then, though, I do have a ray of morality that comes through in ethics. Not that often, but the 1 or 2 times I do, I know it's hard to believe. Even I can't believe that just came out of my mouth with a straight face. But you really do.
Ethics show. It's all coming out.
Yeah. There you go. You really do have to sit down and say, okay, listen, how much is enough? It's like, how do we really help the planet? And what's really interesting, and there's been reports of this, if you develop a car that runs on water or air or whatever, the government comes in usually and takes it away because they consider it national security, right? There's been stories of these inventors that mysteriously die. So when we come up with something, it's like, you can't. Like if I came up tomorrow and said, I can have a car run on air, all you have to do is push the button and it runs forever. My invention would be taken by the government because they'd be like, oh no, national security. and then I'd probably, have an accident, because that's what seems to happen. So until we get over this greed is good thing, and we really get over the fact that we really want to help people and the planet, all of it is just a lot of talking heads and scam. The CPO 28 or 29, the only countries I really see that are really trying to do stuff are really the ones in the Middle East, because they're still virgin territories, right? They're desert. So they can build whatever. They can build high-speed trains. They can do this. They can do that. I'm still dumbfounded here why we don't have high-speed trains in America. We're supposed to be the most advanced country in the world, and but we're not. We don't have infrastructure. I know what it is.
I'll tell you what,
money.
we have a high-speed train. Yesterday on the news, we have a high-speed train here, which is supposed to go 300 kilometers an hour. But because people complained, well, two things. One is the noise, so that got it down to 150. And then after 100, then after 150, here we go. After 150, the badgers were digging dens under the railway tracks, the railway tracks, and of course they're a protected species. So the trains had to slow down for that. So that they went down, and now they're down to 120.
Which
is less than the intercities run, which were so these bullet trains. Crazy.
There's one thing on. I've thought a little bit about the lack of high speed rail in the United States, and yes, it was killed off by the oil companies a long time ago when intracity rail was a thing. But when you think about high speed rail, you do have to remember that there is something nice about flying across the country at a much higher speed than you could do on a high-speed rail. And then you'd have to crisscross a lot of uncharted territory, not uncharted, but a lot of virgin territory in the United States that is really just kept as national parks and forests. And so to actually, we have a lot of natural resources that would be impacted negatively by high-speed rail.
As you did before, you had a huge population of enslaved people and Mexicans and Chinese to do your railway last time. I mean, hey, you've got an immigration.
You got the immigrants coming in. That's right. We got illegal aliens. Build the rail. I like it. There you go.
Let's go and build that railway.
Oh boy.
I mean,
well, you know what's really good? When the king is crowned in January. And we all know that's the orange man, because the Democrats can't get out of their own way. So congratulations, Mr. Trump or King Trump. I'm glad the monarchy will long live. He can
Is he related to David? Is he related to David?
Instead of kicking out all the illegal immigrants, we can now have them build railways again. There you go. Look at that. We have solved the illegal immigrant problem for Donald Trump.
We'll make them build a wall.
Oh, I like that. Can make them build the wall as well. But and they'll put a door in there.
Just one last thing. One last thing about Biden. There was actually somebody this morning who said, who was on a phone in, and they said, "Can we stop playing the clip of him calling Zelensky Putin?" Because it makes their toes curl, because it's so embarrassing, so cringing. So that's how Europe and the UK are looking at America at the moment.
Please stop embarrassing our president. Yeah.
But that's what he can't help. Listen, one last thing on the presidency, and then we're going to get into this dark pattern thing. Is that the Democrats and the Republicans? We're going to talk about the bipartisan on the Congress stock thing, but
we will. Yeah,
I'm glad. The problem with it is if you look at the policies of both, they kind of both suck. The Democrats have much weaker policies than the Republicans. I don't like the Republican candidate. I don't even like the Democratic guy at this point. But if the Democrats can't get out of their own way, then as far as I'm concerned, it's a farce. Your whole party is just BS, and you're literally just giving the election to Trump. If that's the case, you might as well just, if that's what's going to happen, then don't even concede. Unfortunately, I don't think Ms. Harris can carry. I think she'd do good in a debate. I don't think the United States knows who she is, really. And unfortunately, it's a popularity contest.
In a debate.
It's a popularity contest. So since it's a popularity contest, and we've said this before, let me finish on the show. Michelle Obama and Gary Newsom should run, or Michelle Obama and Kamala Harris should run, with Michelle being the president. Because Gary Newsom runs, but my point is, I know that, but it's a popularity contest, and you need someone who's popular. So Michelle Obama and somebody else. And there, you know who?
I'll
You
tell
know
you,
what somebody said yesterday? The Rock should run. The Rock could win.
Yeah.
He would be the best
But
president because he
remember that
he can get
movie?
up to the podium. He can get up. He can get up to you
Let's
know what's
not-
cooking.
Let's not
That'd be
create
awesome.
idiocracy. Let's not make
Yeah.
idiocracy real. Okay.
No, I want it real. I want it so real. It's already here.
The most shocking statement I heard from I think it was a Democrat spin doctor. He said, I think it would be impossible to educate the American people in 3 months to vote for anybody else other than for Biden. And
That's ridiculous crap.
I'll just leave it as he said.
All right.
That's because all the other countries do an election in 2 weeks. We're just stupid. We're dumb and stupid. And hey, as we've said on the Cigar Show, and I'm going to say it here, our loyalty can be bought. So congratulations, King Trump. And the Democrats, you screwed it up for America. You should all be ashamed of yourself. All right, there you go. Now let's go on to another.
All right.
Well, advert or something?
Let's point to a U.S. institution that is actually doing some good. This is the federal. I know, believe it or not, the Federal Trade Commission, which, as we've mentioned before, because Lena Khan, who's leading that, is actually antitrust. She's trying to working hard to break up these monopolies. This same FTC actually did a study and is starting to find companies that are using what are called dark patterns. So our listeners, our viewers should look up dark patterns, because these are ways that programmers code the technology to make it difficult to cancel a subscription, or make it difficult to even turn off the auto renewal of a subscription. And all of these, they're actually saying that 70% of the cases of in this study, subscription providers didn't provide information on how to cancel it. And 2/3 of them failed to provide a date by which they should cancel. They needed to cancel in order to not get charged again. So think of all of these charges that are happening because people are unwittingly being subject to these dark patterns. I mean, it's all over the place. And
I think it's changed because we had the same issues with telephones as well, subscriptions. It would automatically roll over, and now they have to send you 100,000 emails and almost plead with you to take up your subscription again. So there was a big hurrah. I think in the EU it's illegal to do it now. I may be wrong, but they said.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't look at the EU market for dark patterns, but that could be a good topic for the next one. But these are companies that are doing this, internationally, and one of them being TikTok, which says, for example, they use nagging. So nagging is just to say they'll ask you whether you want to upload your contacts to TikTok, and if you say no, they'll ask you again, and they'll ask you again. They'll keep asking you until you say yes.
Until you finally just say, "Oh God, damn it!"
And they cancel and delete the app out. Yeah.
Now
well, TikTok's not going to be here after the first of the year. It won't matter.
Right?
Yeah, but it doesn't make any difference. All your data is already gone. So
we see this in all his apps. It's they have PhDs in behavioral science.
That's right.
And they know how to basically manipulate you to do what they want. Facebook does it. Google does it.
Amazon.
Every Amazon, all the big ones, plus all the little ones too, because
they're all doing it.
They're all doing it. It's just
I will say to cancel. I did have to cancel an app once, and I couldn't. There was nowhere on the app to cancel it, so I had to Google it. And I'm okay with that because I'm not the normal idiot. When I put my mind to it, it's going to happen. Yeah, I went to school to be an idiot. But I literally read about everybody was saying how unfair, and finally it said to cancel it, you have to send an email through the app, and the directions were there, and I did exactly. And 2 days later, I got an email that says it was canceled. And all I thought about at the whole time I was doing it is why don't you just have it in my settings where I can go cancel my subscription? No, I understand that. I got it. And so what happens now is even with TikTok, when we signed up, 205 or TOF Entertainment, they're like, do you want to know? Every day it asks, I go, no. And now that TikTok's going to be kicked out of the United States anyway, now it's like we just delete the app, so we don't even care. Because no one's buying it as far as I know. So it's one of those things where it's sort of like, yeah, no, it's like,
But
I'm not
it's
that
the same
stupid.
with Facebook. If you ever try to delete your Facebook account, you have
That's
to
easy.
dig it. It's like going into a to a deep dark mine without any lights on, trying to find your way to it to finally get to that
No,
setting.
you just go on the internet. I just ask Google. Now I ask
Yeah,
ChatGPT, how do you do it? And
yeah. I know
ChatGPT
that.
gives me all
Well,
the step-by-step instructions, and it's great.
I wish ChatGPT would tell me how to turn off Netflix, because they've changed everything as well. So you have to click all the way across and all the way down the screen to the bottom of it.
Sometimes even when you
Yes.
do try to unsubscribe, they don't unsubscribe you.
They don't
Yeah.
do it. They just
Yeah.
don't do it.
You get an
Just
email
don't do
back
it.
that says you're unsubscribed, and then they just ignore
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
guess
Well, then
the
you
best
call your
thing
credit
is to
card
just-
company, and then that's fraud.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bit like your
Yeah, well, there's
ex-wife.
plenty of fraud out there, right? So
Yep, there's plenty of fraud out there,
now,
and the credit card
the one
companies
thing to
don't
do
like
as a consumer is, generate a virtual credit card number with a much
Yep.
shorter expiration on your card, and then boom, it just stops. But that
Yep.
requires a little, thought process.
Ingenuity.
there.
They
Yeah.
changed that. They changed it here as well in Holland. I used to have, because I got scammed once, and they were very good MasterCard. They were excellent, in fact, because they closed everything down. They said, okay, blah blah blah, you lost this, give you all your money back. So I then changed my credit card to have a limit of $100.
Mhm.
And then that wasn't allowed anymore. Oh no, you can't do that. I said, well, why not? So no, it has to be €2,500. I said, well, why? Well, if not, we won't issue you with a card. This was the Dutch
because they can't
banks.
conduct fraud. Let them conduct fraud then. Let the credit card call every other day and have them.
No, but David,
lose money.
the credit card, if it's a credit card, it doesn't matter. I mean, technically, if it's at least in the U.S., you can dispute the charge, and
Right.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but it's just the fact that I wasn't allowed to. You used to be able to set my own
Set a limit.
limit.
Yeah,
Look,
My
that's
limit
true.
was
I have
is that-
my credit card. I forget. I've had it for a while.
is that the Bank of Argentina?
No, no. It's, okay, if you want to start booking that shit thing, and
All right, let's just keep going. He has the purple American Express card. He's a fan of Barney. Go ahead.
so I have this MasterCard, and it started at $2,000. And they went, okay, now you got 10,000. Great. The next thing I know, it's 40,000.
Yep.
I'm like, what? Okay.
What do
All
you
right.
do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
And
more
then
you were
what they do is
using it, the more they.
then they send you an
the more
email.
credit they give
No, they'll send you an email and they'll say, if you want to up your credit, just give us a phone call. Like I got one the other day. It goes, hey, do you need more? Do you need a bigger credit line? I'm like, no, I got big enough. And they're like, but if you want more, call us and we'll give you more. And I'm like, I don't need the national debt of Argentina as my credit card. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. So it's very interesting.
The apps, really just go over the top with this, subscription cancellation. It just, as we've said, most people either lazy, stupid, and they don't want to put 5 seconds into something that they want to do, but it ends up being that it ruins their. I don't know if it ruins their lives, but it sort of creates a big headache, right? Because every time you try to do something, it's a time suck. So
you are, of course, referring to everybody who's not listening to this at the moment. That's
okay. Yeah.
The uneducated people don't listen to our show. Okay, let's go into the ban on the Congress people and the senators and the government people trading stock. It's not happening.
It's happening. All right. Well, it's happening.
It's
all right. So, this has been going on for a long time. I mean, Congress and members of Congress and their family have been able to purchase stock and invest in things that they know about from insider information. And now Senator Hawley, John Ossoff, Jeff Merkley, and Gary Peters in the U.S. Congress, they are actually proposing a bill that says your spouse, the lawmakers can't do it, your spouses can't do it, and your dependent children cannot trade stocks. Now, it's unfortunate it's beginning March 2027. But it's a little bit into the future.
That's just in time for a future president to
reverse it.
Veto it. Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. So the king is going to veto the bill. All right. Well, that's good. That's good. That bill is useless.
Well, I mean, it's going in. It's the first step. It's
the
going to
first-
be discussed in a committee of in the
Ooh,
Senate.
a committee.
Right now,
How
there's
long
a
will it-
website. There's a website. I forget the URL.
Right.
That it's either Open the Books, the book, or something like that.
Right.
It's called the Ethics Act, believe it or not.
In that website, you can look at the committee and the probability that the bill. I mean that the bill goes out of committee and gets a vote on the Senate floor is
It'll
in the
die.
committee for this bill. It's about 33%. So we'll see if
Oh,
it.
It's going to die. And the
Yeah.
king is going to kill it because the king now, according to the Supreme Court, can't be held liable for anything, which brings me to a point. Why didn't Joe Biden just declare himself king and cancel the election? Because he can't be held liable according to the Supreme Court.
Josh Hawley's a Republican. The guy pushing this bill is a Republican.
Yeah.
Big deal. It's going to die in committee. It's going to die, and no one's ever going to think about it. Listen, March 27, you said? Okay, in March 2027, we're going to discuss this bill, and I'm going to go, okay, where's the bill from 3 years ago? And you guys are going to be like, and there you go, died in committee. All right, so
I mean, it's
good that
it exposes it even more. The lack of ethics. The hypocrisy of politicians when they go after others when they're lining the pockets, because all of these guys that have come in, Pelosi at the top of it of the list, and when she was asked a bunch of years ago, I think in the article it shows the guy from 60 Minutes was asking her, she just dismissed it, and no, it's we're participating in the free market economy. Yeah, you little. None of us can participate in that theft.
Well, we can, but we go to jail.
500 million.
We go to jail for that. Yeah, that's right.
Well, Dianne Feinstein, when she entered Congress or the Senate, I forget, but I read an article, it was either in the FT or the Economist that was talking about her. When she passed away, they did this whole little thing about her. And when she entered her political life in DC, she was only worth, let's just say, $100,000. And when she left her political life, she was worth like 25 million, all from being able to trade stocks.
87 million. 87.
Thank you very much. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, that's
who says crime doesn't pay?
Yeah. I want to be part of it. I want that group. Yeah, that's what's really funny. That's why we talked about this on Vaguely True, which will be airing tomorrow, about politicians. It's like, if you really want to help, whether you're a councilman or the president of the United States, you got to have some sort of morals and ethics. And so our whole thing is they should take a test just to know, like, do you know U.S. politics? Do you know global politics? And then take a psychological, like, are you going to lie, cheat, and steal? Or do you really have a moral background? And it's like, we don't test people to be parents unless you're going to adopt them, right? Then you go through the third degree. But if you wanted to get a kid, anybody can have a baby. They don't test politicians. We test the post office. Really, I got to test you to deliver my mail? Come on. The police and the fire, I get stressful jobs. But I'm like, shouldn't we test our politicians? Shouldn't we test the people that are theoretically making laws to protect us? That's so funny. But seriously, they make laws to protect themselves so they can get away with shit. So it's ridiculous.
Turkeys don't vote for Christmas, so they'd have to. Politicians would have to
Thanksgiving.
vote.
Thanksgiving. I'm Jewish. We don't do that.
Yeah, what we need is a referendum, to put it on the ballot so we can vote on it, not them.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Oh, no referendums.
Really cool.
You know what referendum? They actually work.
Yeah. Americans can't spell that word, John. It doesn't work.
Be careful.
Very cool. All right, before we go into Lost and Found, because that's where we're heading. Hey, who's our guest next week? I know we have somebody.
That's right. We do. So we've got. Let me pull. No, you're right. I have to pull that up because next week we've got. Oh, that's right. We've got Gary Williams of the National Society of Sales Engineers. So this is a guy I've known for a couple of years now. I'm actually a member of the National Society of Sales Engineers, and this is a professional organization. But he's got a good angle on a profession that I think a lot of people don't know about, which is the people who make sales what it is, who actually help account executives get their product in front of their customers in a way that that resonates with the customers, that they really understand it.
Okay.
So he's going to be talking about the big conference that they're having in the fall, among other things, and about the transformation that he's undergone as he's started this organization just a few years ago as a young man. And he's really plugged into the college scene so that people in colleges can actually see this as a career path. So there's a lot of good business lessons, I think, that'll come from that conversation in terms of how he built the organization. And I think our viewers will get a lot out of it.
Nice. I was going to be as smart as I go, well, I've got a lot of college input too. But anyway, the old Groucho Marx thing. So, all right, David, let's go to Lost and Found, because after this show should be interesting.
Welcome to this week's Lost and Found, uncovering dollar winners and losers, where we discuss dollars lost and dollars gained by various companies and projects.
And here we are. Well, Michael, let it start with you. Then we'll go to John. Then I'll go, and then of course David. God knows what he's going to do. So
I got a good one for you. Bad news if you're an AT&T customer, because now, and not just cell phone customer, but also landline. Between May of 2022 and October of 2022, they just announced this. So this is 2 years later. They just announced that criminals have stolen the data of nearly all of their customers from that time period. That's right. Those cyber criminals are rich with data
Definitely.
of customers, who you called, where you called from, who you texted. They didn't actually get the content of the text messages or the calls, but they understand how long these calls took, all of the data, everything about all of AT&T's customers. So there you go.
There's a lot of very happy North Koreans now enjoying themselves.
I was going to say a lot of people.
110 million AT&T customers.
Wow. That's crazy. and here's the best part: they're just telling us 2 years later.
That's right. They are.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to.
Right.
And here's what's really funny: nobody knows.
They're probably unsure about it. See, that's the thing.
They heard it here. They heard it here.
Then the AT&T is going to be fact checking us later. So good thing none of us are with AT&T, or they'd cut all our services out. So, John, what about you?
All right. So I got a couple of. The largest sovereign wealth fund in the world, which is Norway's wealth fund, is now some $1.7 trillion is its worth. So it's I think it's the richest one in the world. So that's a lot of money for the Norwegians. Hopefully they get some of it back.
According to the guys that host Ad Hoc, they get nothing back from it.
Yeah. So
nothing.
Okay, that's an interesting one. So that's, I guess, a dollar gain, lots of dollar gains for
Norwegian,
the government there, the country. Yeah. The other one is Saudi Aramco was looking for some money to invest in their operation, I guess, and they offered a $6 billion bond, 10-year. 30-year notes, right? A total of $6 billion. They got offers for $31 billion. So everyone's like, "Whoa, yeah!" And these bonds were going to, pay about 140 basis points over Treasuries, 10 and 180 over the 30-year bond. But because of the demand, the spread over the treasuries went from 180 to 105 and 145 basis points. So they've I guess they saved themselves a bunch of money.
It's good to be king.
It's good to be king. Yeah,
it's good to be king. Good for you, MBS. You keep going.
Yeah, and the other one, when we're on this theme of debt. The U.S. spent a record $140 billion on debt interest in June, which is about 30% of all the tax revenues, and we're now going to reach by year to date about $1.26 trillion in
Nice.
cumulative interest payments. So
Nice numbers. Big
so
Nice.
yeah, so it's a little lower than last year, but just by 100 billion. So, but what's 100 billion
What's 100
compared
billion?
to
Don, what's 100 billion among friends? Stop it. Don't be
yeah.
crazy talking
So
like that.
yeah, so good for the Norwegians, bad for us here in the U.S. that are paying taxes through the nose.
And we get nothing for our tax dollar here in America.
Yeah.
So it's
So
we get a king in January.
yeah.
So congratulations again, Orange Man. All right, so I've got two of them for you. Dyson, Dyson, the vacuum people, they are laying off
Yeah.
a quarter of
Fan.
their workforce. They're going to lay
Oh,
off a quarter of their workforce, and they're starting to do that. And this morning, the Financial Times was talking about it's back like herpes. Crypto investors, crypto VC funds, last quarter invested $3.2 billion in crypto startups. And one of the funds just raised $1 billion to go and find more make believe money to throw stuff in. So crypto is here, ladies and gentlemen. Yay! But
hey,
Donnie doesn't like it. Donnie doesn't like the crypto. So you'll have to see if the king's going to let it stay. But the crypto, whatchamacallit, the crypto lobbyists are giving the Trump election lots of money. So Donnie may change his mind on crypto and the king may like crypto. So if that's the case, we all need to then buy crypto. So we'll have to see what the king is going to want to do. So there you go.
All right.
you get your financial advice from us.
Yeah.
Don't do anything. Whatever we tell you, don't do jack. Like we always say, take your finance before you do anything. Check with your wife, your girlfriend, your mistress, your accountants, and your lawyers, and in that order, and your sugar babies. That's how you have to check before you make any investment. That's how I make my investments. I check with all of them and make sure there's money left over that I can, they're all happy. And there you go. David, what happened in whatever godforsaken country today? You're going to tell
Well,
us.
it's actually here because in sunny Holland, because they're wallowing in self-pity, and there's even my breakfast coffee was tasting like sour grapes, because unfortunately they got beaten by England in the Euros,
Yes.
and then they're not going anywhere, and they thought they were going to win, and so this is a little homage to everybody I've been deluged with, oh, you cheated, etc. But hey, at the end of the day, it's all about money. So here you go. It's a lost dollar. Touted as being the only T-shirt to wear and promoted by Netherlands' #1 talk show. Now they're putting them all in the shredder. So yeah, what can I say? A lost dollar.
God.
That's a big
Get
loss.
over it.
That's too funny.
Get over it.
That is too funny.
I mean, they should ship those shirts to somebody who needs it. That might be better than shredding.
It's the number one talk show. Yeah, #1 talk show here, and they had it on their web shop, and they were all, we're going to sell all this, look at it, promoting it every night, and now,
That's right.
Well, all I can say is, as always, gentlemen, this has been a thrill. Don't forget, after this show, you have Havana Cigar Nights, where we talk about sports legends. So if you're into sports, you may want to stick around for that show.
Am I on that show?
We said legends, David. We said legends, and not in your own mind. We like real legends that people would know. Just check.
And then
you're in the bathroom. You're a legend in your own mind. Yes, you are. And then on Vaguely True on Sunday, we talk about, should politicians be given tests to be a politician, whether it's a city councilman, an alderman, or all the way up to a prime minister or a president. And we talk about everything in between. So it's a very fascinating 40-minute show with Rob Vega. So if you're bored on a Sunday morning, you can catch that here as well. And then go to our playlist for all 10,000 of our different shows. And we want to thank all we also want to thank all our our subscribers. We are officially noted from YouTube that we have 102,000 subscribers, and our silver plaque is on its way. So we're very excited about that. So we want to thank all the hosts, all our subscribers, all the fans. for your help. You can catch us wherever you get your podcast, on Spotify, Google, Amazon, or Apple. Look up Two Old Farts Making Noises. Look for the name of the show and you'll find it. Or you can catch us here on YouTube, and they have podcasting too. So you can find us here at 2OF Entertainment. So there you go. That's all I got, boys and girls.
Okay.
Well
Don't forget to subscribe and like.
Till next
See you
week,
next
everyone.
week.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.